the mystery surrounding the Ephesus Skull and its connection to Cleopatra, surprising insights into the eye for an eye principle, the discovery of previously hidden tattoos on mummies, mysterious medieval stone discs that may have been Viking sun compasses. These are the stories I've come across this time, and I'll be exploring them in the following. As always, you'll find all source references in the video description. The magazine Archaeology News is reporting on the mystery surrounding the Ephesus Skull and what it might have to do with Cleopatra. Arsinoe IV served as rival queen to her older half-sister Cleopatra starting in 48 BC. She led her own troops against the Roman occupation and Cleopatra, but her army was ultimately defeated by Roman forces. Arsinoe was captured, paraded in Caesar's triumph, and then exiled to Ephesus, a city in Asia Minor located in what is now Turkey. However, her punishment wasn't over yet. She was executed a few years later at the behest of Mark Antony. In Ephesus, there's an octagonal mausoleum that clearly housed someone of high rank. Several years ago, archaeologists discovered a skeleton in a stone sarcophagus there. Before long, the idea took hold that these bones might belong to Arsinoe. Now, a team from the University of Vienna has conducted a detailed examination of the skull. It does indeed date to the period when Cleopatra and her half-sister were vying for power in Egypt. However, the remains don't belong to a woman, they're those of a boy aged 11 to 14. This effectively rules out the possibility that Arsinoe was buried in the octagonal mausoleum. So who is the dead boy? Given the grandeur of the tomb, it's unlikely he was a person of no significance. The researchers determined he was not Egyptian but rather from Italy or Sardinia. Beyond that, however, his identity remains a mystery. The magazine The Conversation has reported on surprising insights into the principle of an eye for an eye. Everyone knows the lex talionis principle, though maybe not by name. The concept is about maintaining a balance between the harm suffered by a victim and the penalty imposed on the offender. This idea underlies the biblical eye for an eye rule from the Torah. However, it was never really about literally taking someone's eye as punishment. The point was that the compensation should be proportionate to the harm. Too little compensation causes the victim to suffer a loss, while too much compensation could provoke further retaliation. A research team recently investigated whether perceptions of the importance of various physical injuries remain similar across different cultures and eras. They wanted to test the theory that laws are cultural constructs adapting to each culture, era, local custom, and social practice, and that such laws on bodily harm therefore vary significantly over time and place. But the study came to a very different conclusion. These laws apparently rely on something universal in human nature. The researchers explained this with a simple, humorous observation. Living without a toe is inconvenient, but living without a head is impossible. They looked at laws from several different periods and cultures. The Code of Ur-Nammu from a Sumerian king in the 3rd millennium BC. The laws of Ethelbert, the first Christian king of the Anglo-Saxon kingdom of Kent in the 7th century AD. The Gutalag, a law code from the Baltic island of Gotland in the 12th century. And finally, regulations from modern US labor law. In parallel, they interviewed 614 people from the US and India, asking them how much they value certain body parts. Then they compared whether the participants' intuitive assessments matched the legally defined compensations. The surprising finding is that both the laws and the participants' perceptions lined up very closely. In other words, lay people and lawmakers, across cultures and across centuries, broadly agree on the relative importance of various body parts. A thumb is more valuable than a pinky, and an eye is more valuable than an ear. The online magazine Archaeology News is reporting on the discovery of previously hidden tattoos on mummies. Between the 10th century and 1470, the Chancay culture flourished on the central coast of Peru. They're known for their valuable textile art. In the 15th century, they were absorbed into the Inca Empire and ceased to exist as an independent culture. In a new study, researchers examined 100 mummies from this society and made a surprising find. They used a relatively new technique called laser-stimulated fluorescence, LSF, which makes it possible to see details that are invisible under normal conditions. On the mummies' bodies, they discovered intricate tattoos reminiscent of Chancay textile art. One particularly remarkable detail is the thickness of the tattoo lines, just 0.1 to 0.2 millimeters. According to the researchers, that's thinner than what modern tattoo needles can produce. They suspect a pointed tool, like a single cactus spine or a sharpened animal bone, was used for this unique technique. This study once again underscores the value of the LSF approach. The researchers plan to apply it to mummies from other cultures as well. The online magazine Archaeology News reports on a study that's taken a closer look at some mysterious medieval stone discs. In Ukraine, there are remains of major medieval settlements located in and around cities we often hear about in the news: Kiev, Listven, and Lyubek. During excavations, archaeologists found 8 medieval pyrophyllite discs whose purpose has long puzzled researchers. Pyrophyllite is a relatively soft mineral known to have been used by artisans in the region since at least the 11th century. Over time, numerous theories have been proposed for these discs. Perhaps they served as calendars, jewelry-making tools, or decorative elements for furniture. Now, a new study has re-examined the discs, which feature complex designs and an unknown function. The researchers suggest they might be 12th century or 13th century sun compasses, similar to instruments known from the Vikings. Essentially, these are portable sundials, used to gauge north-south orientation from the position of the sun. It's well documented that Scandinavian merchants and adventurers traveled the rivers from the Baltic to the Black Sea on their way to Constantinople, which may have brought knowledge of sun compasses to this region. Archaeologists point out that the design of the Ukrainian discs resembles that of Scandinavian Viking sun compasses, although some critics note differences between these discs and the classic sun compass models. Research is ongoing, and we can look forward to more fascinating discoveries in the future. My thanks once again go out to the news detectives in our community for sending in ideas and sources. Which of these stories did you find most interesting? Head over to the community tab to cast your vote. Servus from Bavaria in Germany, take care and see you next time.